Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dev Fireside podcast. This is a pretty exciting week for us as we've got two conventions coming up that we've been preparing for. So, we're going to have Guns of Icarus Alliance at PSX in Anaheim this weekend, which is very exciting because we'll be able to show off the PlayStation 4 work that we've got going on. And next week, we're going to have our mobile game Hamsterdam available to try at MIGS up in Montreal. So, what better time to bring in Eric and Matt to talk about what they've been working on, and in particular, what we've been preparing for the conventions. So, let's start with you, Matt. What have you been doing?
So we've been rounding off our testing on the PS4 edition of Guns of Icarus and polishing that up, doing all the improvements Sony wants us to do, making all those changes, getting everything polished and ready to go.
Have we been getting a whole lot of feedback from Sony?
Yeah, so we're probably maybe a month and a half into their certification process.
Mm-hmm.
We might be 2 months. I've lost track of the time. And
What are days?
yeah, basically we send them, they check all the requirements. They've got a huge long list of technical requirements we've got to meet. They check every single one they can get to in our game, basically fill out a checklist and send it back to us saying this, and needs to get fixed. And some of them are easy, some of them take 2 seconds, and some of them are like, ooh, we got to rethink the way we do that, the way we handle that situation.
Now, do they compile all of their feedback and send it at once, or do they hit a certain point and go, okay, fix these things and we'll continue?
Our first round of testing, seems like they hit a point where they were running into too many bugs and stopped. We had some issues in that build that, made it a problem for them.
Okay.
Once we had done that, they got deeper and deeper into the game. As they go through, they do. It seems from the feedback we're getting that they try more and more corner cases as they think of them, because they're still getting familiar with our game as well.
Right. And you said that there were some things that were real easy fixes, and then others stopped, and you had to really work on it. What was one of the harder things that you had to try to fix?
Well, we had to make some pretty significant changes to the way we handle names in our game.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, every time a name shows up in our game, it can't get cut off on PSN. It has to be showing off anytime you can hear them on the microphone. So we had to make sure all our UI would show up when their voice would show up, like in loading menus.
Okay.
Our voice system technically works in the loading menu, and so we had to relayer the UI a little bit to make sure that would pop up on top.
All right. And so you are going to regret ever having a conversation with me. I know it. But we chatted yesterday a little bit, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
And you brought up one thing during development that ended up really giving you some trouble, and I would just really love for you to share that with everybody. I'm going to make you relive it.
Which one?
With the video and the map.
Oh. So, one of the strangest bugs we encountered, the strangest bugs I've ever encountered in my life, was the intro video. So the Unity's intro video player just doesn't work on PS4. There's just a technological difference that was too hard to overcome for them. So there was a workable alternative. The PS4 has a video player API that you can play videos in your games using. But I was running into some bugs. All the colors in the video were just super saturated and just completely wrong and almost nonsensical what some of the colors were showing up as. And so I was like, okay, what's causing this? And, all my settings were right. I left a support message with Sony and Unity, and they were like, yeah, everything looks right. Can you try and reproduce this in a smaller project? And so I did that, and everything worked fine in a smaller project. So I was like, okay, something somewhere in our game is wrong. And it took me a couple days of just very random testing, just removing components of our game and just seeing what caused it. And I eventually managed to just disable enough stuff that was like, okay, it's working now. Start re-enabling things wait. This is coming out of the world map UI. And I look, and so I go into the script that handles the world map UI, and I cut down, and it's a random function. And when the world map UI starts up, it calls this function, and it has nothing to do with the video player in the slightest. and I just, okay, what if I turn this off? And it's like, the video player works, and I'm just back and forth. And I just think I'm going crazy because it doesn't make any sense.
No.
And it totally worked. Like, I didn't break the world map UI, and I fixed the video player. But I don't have a clue what caused any of that.
That's going to be the first thing you check anytime there's a bug, though.
Oh, I want to forget about it. I never want to think about it again.
Did you have nightmares?
Probably.
In my mind, you probably had some really awful nightmares about that.
I just spent so much time in the video player. It's like, okay, everything's right here. It has to be somewhere else. And it ended up being somewhere entirely nonsensical.
Something completely unrelated to it.
Yeah, completely unrelated.
So I cannot for the life of me remember, are you going to PSX?
I am going to PSX.
You are
we
going
leave
to PSX.
Tomorrow morning and I have to be up way too early.
Oh, no. Are you excited?
Yeah, it should be fun.
Well, be careful out there because a lot of California is on fire right now.
Yeah,
So,
I actually have a friend who works in a Sony studio in LA, and she can see like the fire on a mountaintop. She can see smoke rising when she goes outside.
oh my God. Well, please, you and the other guys, stay safe out there because that's scary.
Yeah.
All right.
Just don't go into like Hollywood or northern LA.
Yeah.
I think you'll be okay.
Well, I think the biggest concern, I know they were saying that the weather is making it spread pretty quickly. And I know that Anaheim...
Yeah, it's windy.
Yeah, Anaheim had a really big fire. It was, I think, October, where they had to evacuate people. I remember the pictures from Disney. So...
Oh, God.
Just be careful. All right, Eric, you're up.
What's up?
What's up? So, you and I are going to be taking a trip to the wonderful world of Canada.
Yeah, it's going to be the exact opposite of being on fire.
Yeah, we're going to Canada in December.
Better than January or February from what I hear, but I think I was checking the weather maybe a week or two ago, but apparently during this time of year, the warmest is freezing. So, so great, like 32 Fahrenheit, 0 degrees Celsius. That is the warmest.
Oh boy.
Want to switch conventions?
Maybe.
Yeah, you're wearing shorts right now, man. So it's impressive.
I like the cold.
Do you really?
Yeah, I love the cold. I hate
God.
the heat. It's gonna be too warm in California for me.
I'm the exact opposite. I can't handle the cold.
Yeah, I was considering like buying like a whole new like set of winter gear or whatever, but it was like I'm not gonna blow $400 on some jacket right now. So if I freeze and I don't come back, blame Canada.
Blame
It ate
Canada.
me alive. Yeah.
So what have you been working on this week?
A bunch of things as usual. So as far as guns goes, the biggest thing is war has started this morning.
Yeah, it did.
So we've got the two alliances fighting each other, a Caledonian-led one and the other is an Arashi-led one. So they should be butting heads as we speak. Momentarily, I'll be going in and checking out the goals that people have voted for and planning out for missions in the coming weeks. There's also going to be, the usual DevApp testing with the player council suggested changes. So I've been slowly getting those in and getting them verified with various people, making sure that everything is ready for some crazy testing on the weekend. And then there's Amsterdam stuff. So not only are we preparing for MIGs, which other than freezing, I think is fine. Like we've got stuff covered we've got Amsterdam builds that we can show, and it's not, breaking or anything. But we're also on the side, like doing a lot of new features and experimentation and getting those up to snuff, as well as switching gears to like include some new visual improvements for a big competition submission at the end of the month. And then, of course, there's other like really top secret stuff that I cannot talk about that I've been working on. There's always top secret stuff, so it's just everyday things.
Super secret development stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys get it. It's cool. So, what sort of preparation did you guys have going on with the knowing that this convention was coming up and that we would be showing Amsterdam to people?
So, I mean, we've been showing Amsterdam quite often now. So the builds and things like that we're like in a good swing. So we showed off the game in Atlantic City a month or two ago, and it went well. So we have the stable build from that. So we're going to continue using that and just, make sure people see it and like get the word out that Amsterdam is a thing that exists.
Right.
So as far as like development goes, we're like squared away for that. Of course, other preparations include making sure that we bring enough like pins and goodies and things to pass out to people while they play our game. So
free stuff.
Exactly.
Everyone loves free stuff, especially when it's cute.
And Amsterdam is the cutest thing that we have ever done.
It is painfully adorable.
Yeah.
Oh, man, let me think. This is so difficult because I know all of the things that I'm going to ask questions about. But I'm doing this for everybody watching, so I have to try to think of stuff to ask now. Usually, Miko's much better at this than I am. All right, another Amsterdam question. What is, if you can talk about it, one of the most exciting individual aspects of the game that you're working on right now? Something that you're really excited about implementing?
So the big feature that we're trying to push through right now. So right now in the game, the main character Pim, he has a pretty limited set of attacks. Right. So right now we're trying to implement this like charging up mechanic. You hold down and sort of like if you played Mega Man, you hold down the button and Mega Man begins charging his Buster gun, and he'll shoot out like a big like Hadouken fireball thing. We're working on something quite similar to that that you'll use in special instances. You'll hold down on the screen, and Pim will start charging, and suddenly he'll glow. And when you let go, he unleashes this like really powerful punch against the enemy. So that's like another aspect that we're adding to combat to mix it up a little bit, so players have a bunch of options to choose between while they're fighting enemies.
Awesome. I'm very, very excited about Amsterdam. I'm not traditionally a mobile gamer, but this is one that I'm actually really excited about, and I'm not just saying that because I work here. All right. Well, that's all we've got for you guys. Do you have anything else that you want to add before we wrap up, boys?
Preparing for PSX has been a little bit interesting.
Okay.
Maybe, Matt, you want to talk about, the ad hoc construction that we've been doing?
Yeah, so this morning we lost some of the feet to one of our bigger banners for our booth.
What?
And so we had no stand for it. So George went out this morning and picked up some PVC piping. And we managed to create a base that worked if you were only using one of them. So we're going to use the 2 feet we have, one on each banner, and then the impromptu one on the other foots of those banners.
Oh my goodness.
Because they're not sturdy enough to hold up the whole thing by themselves, but they're sturdy enough if you've got one of the real feet. So that went pretty well.
At least you were able to figure it out.
Yeah, see, PVC pipe is critical to the sport of Quidditch. And so I've got a lot of experience fixing freestanding PVC objects.
My grandfather used to have to rig so many things because we were always losing pieces to things, and he referred to it as holding things together with bubblegum and a prayer. Would that be an accurate representation of the situation?
That would be a very accurate representation of what we were doing this morning.
Yeah, you know, having seen the construction this morning, I don't know if it seems like what Matt has talked about is a little bit more sturdy, but what I saw this morning, it's just hoping that the people who attend PSX, like Sony has them sign a waiver, so like if they get injured or die in our booth, it's not our fault. You know, just saying. So, I mean, there is fire out in California, but like our booth can also be out to get you. So,
Oh
you
my
know.
God. I'm actually a little bit jealous now because I work from home. I'm not in the office, so I didn't get to see any of this. And I'm really disappointed that nobody thought to pull out a camera.
We were all too worried about it falling on us. We didn't have time to take photos.
Except for Eric, who was watching and amused, apparently. Oh, God.
Our engineering department was doing some real engineering today.
Oh, gosh. Well, there you have it. In real life engineering, it's not just an in-game feature. If you happen to be going to PSX, please don't lean on the banners. And I think that's all we've got for you this week. So thank you guys so much. If you happen to be out at PSX, you can swing by and see us at booths 4 and 5. If you happen to be up at MIGS, you can come see us at booth 150. And otherwise, until then, thanks for flying with Guns of Icarus. Bye.
Peace.